Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sellermania 4. Today is January 17th, 2022. We're kicking off the year strong with a great group of panelists and my lovely co-host, Eileen Lent of Thrasio. Eileen, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. We have a great panel today. And first off, I'd love to know where everyone's joining from. So if you guys could put some of the cities that you guys are from in the chat. I know we've got someone from Brisbane, Ben's from Scotland, we got Fort Lauderdale. So let's see what cities we have in here. We also have our all-star lineup today, which includes Mark Casey, CEO of Mark Casey SEO, Vanessa Hung, CEO of Online Seller Solutions, Lenny Ash, co-founder of AZ Seller Kit, Norm Farrar, co-owner of Private Label Legion, and Ben Leonard, co-founder of Ecom Brokers. What's up, guys?
Oh, good to be here.
Doing great.
Excited.
It's great to see everybody. For those of you that are joining, we're going to let people get settled. Sometimes people show up a little late. It's the middle of the day. But if you're new to a Sellermania event, let me tell you a little bit about that and the Ecom Cooperative. So Sellermania is an event that's put on by the Ecom Cooperative to give great information that's free and free prizes to people in the Amazon seller community. The Ecom Cooperative was founded about a year ago by 5 very smart, very dedicated guys who are on the backstage here today, except for Lenny. We're putting him in the hot seat today. So Lenny, wave again. Lenny's one of the co-founders of the Ecom Cooperative, but the Ecom Cooperative exists to give great information, networking opportunities, and more to the seller community. It's 100% free for sellers to join. So if you're not a member, I encourage you to go to the ecomcooperative.com right now and sign up. But we also encourage you to click on the link someone's going to stick in the chat so that you can register for a free prize from what's a very special addition to Sellermania, the Wheel of Kelsey. Kelsey Farrar is here. He will be facilitating the giveaways of all of the prizes that our Ecom Cooperative community have put up for people who attend today. So you have to be in attendance to win the prize. Just a sneak peek at some of the stuff we're giving away. Thrasio is giving away a swag bag. I'm giving away a swag bag from Takeometrics. I'll tell you a little bit more about Takeometrics in a second. We've got 2 free months of Private Label Legion, and we've got a free 1-hour consult from Ben Leonard, a free 1 hour from Vanessa Hung, $1,000 in subscriptions to AZ Seller Kit, a free launch from Mark Casey SEO. It's just bananas, the amount of free stuff you can get today. So today, actually, in the US, a lot of us had the day off because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So Eileen, do you want to talk a little bit about what that means? Because some of our joiners are not here in the US.
Yeah, I'll actually start with a quote. One of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King is, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" So that will kick off us off today. And Liz, if you want to continue.
Well, I think that's really appropriate too. Obviously, Dr. King was a hugely influential figure. He was taken away from us way too soon, but he was the chief spokesperson for nonviolent activism in the civil rights movement. When he was born, his birthday actually is January 15th, but we celebrate on the closest Monday to that in January. So it's today. And the earliest in the US is the 15th, and the latest would be the 21st. And the holiday was signed into law in 1983, but Dr. King spoke a lot. He worked tirelessly to help the civil rights movement in the United States during a really, really difficult time. He was sadly assassinated cruelly. It was devastating to the nation. So we take today to celebrate him and appreciate all of his works. But in the spirit of giving to others, that's one of the reasons that the Ecom Cooperative was founded. This industry, as you know, is complicated. If you've been selling on Amazon for any amount of time, you know that Amazon changes on a dime sometimes. That's one cool thing that Vanessa knows a whole lot about, and Vanessa will be talking about Amazon compliance today, because it's very hard to stay compliant with Amazon when they change their rules, and sometimes they don't even tell you they're changing the rules before the rules are actually changed. So that's going to be a great session. We're looking forward to that. I think we're ending up the day with that. No, or ending up the day with Mark. Yeah, and seeing more people join in. As more people come into the room, I'll intro myself. I'm Liz Downing. I'm the marketing manager of seller partnerships and events at Takeometrics. Takeometrics is an optimization platform for e-commerce sellers so that they can optimize their advertising on Walmart, Amazon, and eBay, and more marketplaces will follow. But we try to provide as much value to the community as possible. And that's why we joined the Ecom Cooperative. Eileen, why don't we talk a little bit about Thrasio, as if nobody knows about Thrasio, but let's just talk a little bit about it, just in case somebody's like brand new to the game.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. So I'm Eileen. I'm a corporate marketing associate at Thrasio. So honored to be hosting alongside the Liz Downing and being here today with you all. And I'm proud to represent Thrasio. Thrasio is not just an aggregator, but a next generation consumer goods company, reimagining how the world's most loved brands become accessible to everyone. And looking forward to learning from our awesome panel of industry experts.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think Thrasio has been in the news enough that even people outside of the industry have heard of Thrasio. So
I think we might be able to do a first prize if you want to get things heated up.
that's Yoni Mazor. If people don't know Yoni, I think people outside of the industry even know Yoni too. But Yoni is one of the co-founders of Gatita, and he is a frequent speaker and personality in the e-commerce space, always looking to provide more value to the community, and a heck of a nice guy. So Leah, let's give away the first prize. The first prize we'll give away today is let's give away the Takeometrics free swag. So over to Kelsey for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, here we go. So we do have a little song with the Wheel of Kelsey. So I'll intro with that. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly. And all right, here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, so it is the Wheel of Kelsey. This is our first giveaway. Here we go. I'm going to shuffle up these names. I'll be adding them as everyone's coming through. And here we go. The first giveaway is Shia D.
All right, Shia. So we'll be emailing you a coupon code you can use on Takeometrics Shopify store. You can order yourself your favorite size of a North Face jacket, a Yeti mug, a face mask, and a t-shirt that you like, all with Takeometrics branding, but it's very tasteful, I promise. And special shout out to Lunch with Norm, one of Norm's many ventures and activities that sponsors the Wheel of Casey. But Norm, thank you so much. Kelsey, thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
All right, so I guess we can kick off into the agenda itself if Ben is ready. Eileen, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Ben Leonard?
Yeah, so Ben will be speaking about what makes e-com business sellable and valuable. Ben is a self-proclaimed classical millennial entrepreneur. He started his first business with a laptop in a cupboard and grew an international 7-figure brand and exited after 3 years. Now he helps others grow, scale, and exit their businesses through both his consultancy and his brokerage business. Welcome, Ben.
Hold on, but which company did he sell to?
Thrasio. He did sell to Thrasio.
No, I never heard of
Friendly
them.
audience.
Oh,
Friendly
yeah.
audience.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for that kind intro. Good to be here, guys. I guess I better share my screen. So give me a sec. All right, so can you all see this?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Right. I'm going to rattle through this pretty quickly because I only got 10 minutes and I have tried to cram in a ton of value and helpful stuff. So if it's okay, I'm just going to get going. And yeah, the pace will be pretty quick, but it's being recorded. So all good. All right, here we go. So why would you sell your e-commerce business? If I may, that is the wrong question that anyone should be asking. The correct question, I think, is why make your e-commerce business sellable? Because in my view, ultimately, one day you're probably going to want to sell it. There has to be an end game. If you actually think about what your life is going to be like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, are you still going to be doing this? Chances are you won't. And the way to get out of that is by exiting it for hopefully lots of money. So why might you sell? Because maybe you need the money for a new project. Perhaps you're excited about a new brand, or perhaps you just want to live a life of leisure. I think that would be a little bit boring, but some people want to do that, and that's fine. Perhaps you recognize that your business has almost peaked and you want to get out while you're growing before you've maxed out growth. Or perhaps it's just time to move on. You don't have the time or the inclination to continue running the brand as it is. Or you don't have the resources to scale it and it needs to be passed to the hands of an organization that does. Or maybe you just recognize that your business is in demand, it's valued quite highly, and you can sell it for great money. So then, why would you need to plan your exit, even if you're not necessarily thinking about it in the short or medium term? Because you can't just wake up one day and decide, oh, actually, I do want to sell, because there's going to be a heck of a lot of work to do. What you can do is wake up and decide to implement the plan that you've already done to make your business sellable, and then take that sellable business to market. Orienteering through the dense jungle without a map, a compass, a machete is not a good idea. You don't know where you are, you don't know where A is, and you don't know where B is. But if you know what your business is worth, you have a reference point, you know where A is, and then you can think about where you want to get to and build a plan to get there. And when you do that, you want to work with an expert who will help you to make the business sellable and valuable, which means that when aggregators say, hey, we like the look of your business, we'd love to buy it from you, then you know where you are, you know what your business is worth, and you know what you're talking about. So how then is a business valued? I'm going to talk really simply about how a business is valued. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people watching this, all with different businesses and different circumstances, and it's important that I keep this pretty general. Okay, so for simplicity, we take the net income of your business, add something called add backs and something called adjustments. I'll talk about what they are, and that comes out to seller's discretionary earnings, which is a little bit like your profit, but it's not. It's your net income plus add backs and adjustments. And we multiply that by something called a multiple. And this gives us the price of the business. And I'll explain what all these things are, I promise. So first of all, add backs. And I want you to be thinking now, right? Think about in your head, what is the net income of your business? And as I explain these add backs and adjustments, think about what yours might be. These are personal related discretionary expenses, phone, travel, salary, health insurance, office costs that won't apply to a new business owner. There are also one-off costs that won't be repeated. You've paid for your intellectual property. You paid to have that video made. You've paid for that photography. It's not going to need to be done again. You paid for that listing to be translated. And then there might be more frequent costs like consulting fees or software, which a new owner isn't going to have to bear because they probably already have all that kind of stuff. So those are add backs that we can take off of the loss part of your P&L sheet. And then we have adjustments, and adjustments are a little bit more advanced. It's where we're recognizing change in your profit and loss sheet over the last 12 months. So you might have had change in your COGS, the profit of your business, your shipping method. And let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about here. You see, when we value a business, we typically value it based on the trailing 12-month performance. Well, let's say that 3 months ago, you increased the price of a product and now you make more profit per unit on that product. And when you did that, you didn't see a dip in sales. Sales stayed the same or maybe even went up because now the product is viewed as being more premium. Not really fair to you if it's only contributing 3 months worth of extra profit to the value of your business, but the new owner is going to get that benefit going forward. So what we can do is adjust as if you'd always been selling at that price. And so suppose you had an extra $2 profit per unit on a product that sells 50 units a day. I'm going to quickly do the maths for you and tell you that over a year, that's 36.5 grand extra profit, which with a 4x multiple applied to it is 150 grand added to the value of the business. You do that across several products and you're adding 6, maybe even 7 figures to the value of your business. So really important that this stuff is done by professionals who understand how it all works. So we're going to look at an example, right? If the SDE of your business, remember that's your net income plus add backs and adjustments, is 100 grand, it's 2 years old, diversified, growing, you're probably going to multiply that by between 3 and 3.5-ish. But if it's 500 grand with tons of off Amazon sales, lots of intellectual property, trademarks, designs, patents, massive growth, and it's 5 years old, could be 4 to 6 times multiple that we're applying to that 500,000, maybe even more. Okay, now I want to take you through a worked example of a business selling for about $2.5. But before we look at the numbers, I want to talk about what makes a business sellable and valuable in the e-commerce space. All right, timing. Timing is everything. Your business wants to be growing, but not maxed out. It needs to be stable. And that means you're selling in a favorable niche. I'll talk about what they are in a minute. No black hat stuff going on, and very transferable. You can hand over the keys tomorrow. And to do that, you got to have great documents, systems, processes. Your taxes need to be in order. You need to have your financial docs in order. Your brand, your business needs to be defensible. It needs to be a brand. You can't just sell stuff, right? You have to have a brand identity with trademarks and patents around it. And you want to be diversified, selling on a variety of channels in a variety of markets with a variety of SKUs and a variety of traffic sources. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. And you need to be having great relationships with your suppliers who comply with high quality standards and environmental and social standards. And your business needs to be efficient, which means you've automated things like PPC, inventory management, email flows, chatbots, and hopefully you've got a team, either freelancers or employed, helping with your social media, your email marketing, and your account management. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes, okay? But I want to talk you through this example. So suppose this hypothetical business goes to market at $2.5 million. It's doing 1.8 million in revenue, sales discretionary earnings of 450 grand, so that's 25%. How did we arrive at a 2.5 million valuation? We multiplied that 450 grand by 5.55. Now, the average multiple in e-commerce right now is 5. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It is. And here's how we got there. This business is 4 years old with consistent growth, clear opportunities for further growth. That's what a buyer wants, right? They want to grow your business more. It's in international markets, and it's got products in development. It's in a favorable niche. Now, good niches to be in at the moment are baby, home, garden, sports, toys, not doing any black hat, and it's transferable because it's got its systems and processes in order, and it's got a good team in place. Everything's well documented, the financials have been audited, and the tax is all in good standing. The business is defensible. They have a load of raving fans for the brand. It's a real brand. They got a social media buzz, and it's protected by trademarks in the US, Europe, and where they're manufacturing in China, and that's important. And they have a patent on one of their own products. And it's diversified. They're selling on Amazon in the US, Walmart in the US, and on their own website. And they're in the UK as well, which means they have an easy expansion route into mainland Europe, which is an opportunity, meat on the bone, a carrot on the stick for a potential buyer. And that makes your business sellable. And they got 7 SKUs, not too many that it's hard to manage, but enough that they're not just relying on 1 or 2. Because if you're relying on 1 or 2, you're in a pickle. And you got a range of traffic sources, Facebook, Google, Instagram. So you're not just relying on one stream of traffic. Suppliers have been visited 3 times. Quality standards are passing 99% of the time, and the supplier is complying with major environmental and social compliance certificates. And finally, the business is really efficient. The PPC is managed by an agency. Inventory is managed on SoStock. They're using Klaviyo for email, Seller Chatbot for chat, and they have a team in place, okay? So suppose you got your great business, it looks something like this. It's very sellable and valuable, and you've got an offer on the table from a buyer. The potential buyer is going to go through something called due diligence. Due diligence is the process by which the buyer verifies that everything that I just told you or told them about that business is true, okay? And they're going to look at 3 main categories. They're going to look at the commercial side of the business, which is basically sales, marketing, and manufacturing. They're going to look at the financial side of the business, which is basically tax, payments, accounts, and then they're going to look at the legal side of the business, which is basically your intellectual property, any contracts you might have, and insurance. So screen grab that page and ask yourself, go through your business and say, are all my ducks in a row for these 3 topics? Because when it comes to selling your business, you'll save yourself a huge headache if you have everything organized across those things, because a potential buyer is going to turn over every stone of your business and look in every nook and cranny across those 3 categories, all right? So then when it does come time to sell, you want to sell it with experts. That means with a qualified brokerage, and ideally they have lived experience on all sides of the equation. They've got to be business owners in e-commerce. They've got to be M&A experts and accountants who will work with you until you're ready and not the other way around. Work towards your goals and aspirations and dreams, and not, hey, we'll flip your business for you in 5 minutes. They want to work to get your business ready for a buyer to analyze it and they need to be adding value. The work they do on the numbers, especially, needs to add value that more than pays for what they're going to charge you. And then they got to position the business properly and market it to the right buyers. And then, crucially, work with a lawyer to help structure the deal to suit you and get what your business is worth for you. So with that in mind, you got to plan ahead. The worst you can do is not plan for an eventual exit, even if it's not currently on your agenda. You got to find out what your business is worth now, then reverse engineer that with a suitably qualified expert to get you there. The number one mistake people make is not planning and then going it alone or working with a generic service. You know, we all use experts in our business, PPC, trademarks, legal issues. And then when it comes to selling our business, people lose their minds and think they can do it themselves. You got to use experts with your most valuable asset, and that's your business. So hope that was helpful and you got a ton of value. Email me if you want, ben@ecombrokers.co.uk. And when you mention the ecom co-op, you will get 10% off of our fees. I hope that you enjoyed that. That was fast, I know.
Wow.
Hey, Ben. No, it's great.
Good job, Ben.
Cheers. Are we doing questions now or later?
We're going to do Q&A later, and a lot of people have actually popped in the chat. So anybody who's popped in the chat wanting to have a conversation with you, we'll definitely get to you. Robbie Hill just said so much value, Ben. So Robbie gave you a
Thanks,
shout out.
Robbie. Good to hear from you, Robbie.
Hey, Marcia.
Cool.
Excellent
I
content.
will unshare.
Okie doke. Well, so I think it makes the most sense since Ben just presented and everybody is really into his brain and all that kind of stuff. Ben is giving away a 1-hour free consult. So Kelsey, if we can roll the wheel and see who is lucky enough to win that, that would be great.
All right. Okay, can you see the wheel?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
We see like a fuzzy black screen. Or the video, I
that-
guess, the video.
That's the wrong video.
Music.
Okay, I won't.
Yep.
We can do the video again. It was pretty intoxicating. It's pretty good.
That was the mind of Kelsey we were just looking at.
All right, we can do the video again. We'll see if you guys get sick of it. All right.
That's
here
12
we
seconds
go.
of your life.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay, so here we go. Another spin of the wheel. I'll shuffle them up. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see who it is. Samuel H.
All right, Samuel.
Congratulations.
Drop me an email, Samuel, if you're watching this. Ben@ecombrokers.co.uk, and we'll catch up.
And if somehow you missed that, we'll be sending out everybody's prizes to them via email after the show, probably first thing tomorrow. So Ben, that was awesome. I learned so much about terms that I had no idea what they meant for that. Next up, we're going to intro Norm Farrar, who is beloved in the industry. And then after he's done, Eileen's going to kick off his giveaway. But Norm is also known as the Beard Guy. He's the host of Lunch with Norm. He's the host of I Know This Guy. He is involved with more businesses that I can list in the allotted time that I have, but he's also the co-founder of the private label Legion, and he's just all about helping business owners create solutions and networks for themselves so that they can achieve their highest potential. That's Norm's whole MO. Plus he's super nice. He's got a really cute dog. He's smells good. I mean, like there's nothing bad about Norm whatsoever. He just spends most of his time, which I have no idea how he has enough hours in the day, but he offers great insight to the community, and we're happy to have him here talking about building perceived value or Google Business Profile. Norm, why don't you take it away?
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Yes, and I can only do it with Kelsey's help. So that's how I do it. But today I thought we'd probably talk about perceived value. And I still think, I've talked about this for years, but I still think this is probably one of the number one things people can do when they're selling on Amazon, Shopify, anything and where you go. It's all about, if you're building a brand, it's about where you want to come out with your brand. You can come out very inexpensive, low-key brand. You could be at a high level. And I'm going to show, can I share my screen? Okay, if this works, I'm going to show you something that comes from the Dead Sea mud. Let me see. I hope this works. So Dead Sea mud is Dead Sea mud. And as you can see in this slide, Dead Sea mud is going for $6.97 up to $14.98. And you can see that it ranges in from 8 ounces. I think all of them are 8 ounces. So it's Dead Sea mud. All right. So if you notice, oops, I got to click over here. Nope, that's not it. Just a sec. Got the wrong slide.
Seems like you're about to throw some mud at us. What's the story? That's
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I had the slide up, but it's the wrong slide.
Got it.
Okay,
Good.
so I don't know what's happening here. What I'm going to show you is the second one, and we'll see if we can get on with this. And then if it doesn't work, I can just move it over to the next one.
You can send
Okay.
it to Kelsey to share also if you want. If he's
Oh,
around.
okay. So we'll try this though. So, okay, so we've got this going. So now we go to the next level. So if you've noticed, the same mud is now $22 up to $32. And hopefully when I click this, of course not, it's working. The third level is $78 to $86. It's the same mud. There's one difference. Those who wanted to sell Dead Sea mud and deal with bottom dwellers, no profit, make a quarter on the jar, did so. And they did it with crappy branding. They didn't do their market research. If I'm going to launch a product, I want to see those 3 tiers. And if you look at any product that's out there on Amazon, there are always those 3 tiers. So you can go out low, middle, high, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like going out with high perceived value. If I can sell something for $10, or if I can sell it for $50 and it's the same price, why not? Another quick example before I get into how to do it. Knives. We sell knives. I use this example quite a bit. It's a $16 knife. It entered the marketplace at $49. Change the packaging. The packaging was $1.25. We went from $79, $89, $99 to $124. Same $16 knife. Put it into a wood package, relaunched it on Amazon with a $3 wood package, repackaged the outside, hammered the steel, $16 and selling it at $224. Same product. That's why I love perceived value. And a lot of these people at the bottom end are selling it at $49. The top end, probably using the same manufacturer, top end is roughly between the $199 up to a $300 range. I chose to go out at that third level. So here's a few things to keep in mind. Just go over here. One of the things
North,
yeah.
we are not seeing your screen if you're sharing.
Oh no, I'm done with that screen now. But thanks. So it was only the one slide. I just wanted to show that, it's the same mud. But where do you start? And the first thing and first place you want to start with is your brand. Are you building a brand? Amazon says build a brand community. So you want to get a name. You want to make sure that it's available, and you want to make sure that all the social names are available as well. Here's just a tip. If you want to check that out, go to name check, and it's spelled a little different. It's NAMECHK. And you can just type in your name and see if it's available right across the board. Next is you want to make sure the trademark is open and you have a quality logo. So you want to, and this kind of comes down to the second point. And I'm going really quickly here. But the next part is be consistent with the brand. You've got your brand, you've done your research. It might be the first name that comes to mind, but it probably won't be it. You might want to check it out. You might want to check out those brand names with a company like PickFu or, whatever. There's Usability Hub. There's a bunch out there, Usability Hub. But get a name that you can diversify your brand. So, for example, I've seen this, I've gone into it, and I won't say the name, but if I'm selling baby products and I've got, little stinkers, whatever, and all of a sudden I'm selling fertilizer and garden tools, it's not a great brand. But if I'm selling a soap brand, I can go out and let's say, you know, at bubbles.club or whatever you want to call it, you know, bathbombs.club. You could sell soap, you could sell shampoos, you could sell, like you can grow your brand that way. You could go really wide. Something to consider when you're building a brand. You want to make sure that your logo is half decent. If you pay $5 for a logo, you'll probably get a templated logo that somebody did in about 5 seconds. I like to go out and try to find somebody that's got some corporate identity experience. That's me, but I'll pay a bit more for it. 99, I think it's 99 Designs. They do an okay job with that, but I usually try to go and find a really great graphic designer with corporate identity experience. And I want to drive that right across my social media, my Shopify store, and my Amazon listing. And it's so important because when you get this up and going, what are people going to do when they go to your listing? You're a no-name listing. You're a micro brand. They don't know who you are, what you are. They're going to check you out on Google before they buy on Amazon. And if your brand looks completely different, if you look like you got a 1997 website and your social media looks like, you know, your dog did it, they're not going to trust you. Authority equals sales, or authority equals trust equals sales. The next part to this is packaging. Take a look at what your competition is doing and do it better. Packaging, when I sold that $16 knife for $124 and then went up to the $224 mark, it was because the packaging made the difference. Nobody knew about the knife. The knife was just pretty pictures that we did, you know, really high quality pictures, because that's another, I'll get to that in a second. But packaging is probably the least expensive thing that you can do to build the quality and the perception in your brand. Within the packaging, you can also do the type of imprinting. Is it going to be embossed? Is it going to be debossed? Are you going to bring out like a high gloss? It's called spot printing. There's all sorts of different types of printing that you can do to make your brand better. Also, are you going to have labels? What's that label going to look like? Is it going to be consistent with the brand? Are there going to be inserts? All of these can go into the packaging. I'll give you an example of a soap box. You can have a soap box that is in a normal tuck box, like what you would get Irish Spring in. And it's just that really cheap cardstock. Or you could go to a rigid box where you'd probably pay $15 a bar, which is crazy. People pay that. Or you could go into just a higher perceived tuck box. And that would just be a thicker cardstock. Well, again, depending on whether you want to come out A level, B level, or C level, you could make that packaging count. One more thing, think of the little things. Think of everything psychologically that make things work. So if I'm selling a shampoo and a conditioner, not that I need shampoo and conditioner, you know, I wish, but if I remember back in the days, if I had shampoo and conditioner, the one thing that drove me crazy was I'd put the shampoo in my hair first and not know which one was which because I didn't read the bottle. I was looking at the bottles. I thought I had the right one. Well, change the cap, make the color slightly different. These are psychological things that make the customer experience that much better. Simple, simple, simple. Put a seal on the box, a transparent seal. If you're selling supplements, do the shrink wrap around the top. Put it in, actually, a lot of supplement manufacturers, or just think of everything that comes to you in just in this, the actual bottle itself. What happens if that came in a package? And think about the packaging itself. People go, oh, it's cost too much. Yeah, that quarter's too much. Well, you've probably just brought up the perceived value to not only cover the quarter, but probably make an extra buck. And you've got more messaging that you can put on there. Now, doing those little things, what about messaging itself? I know years ago I've done this, but I make 20,000 handmade notes, very generic, that I put into my products. Just enjoy, you know, it's something that I can get people to write very inexpensively in China. So they all come over at one time, and then I just put them into my beauty products. And I get so many reviews about that, oh, thank you for your handwritten note. Okay, thanks. Next, there's two more things. Competitive analysis. You've got to find what your competitors are doing. You've got to know them better than themselves. So check it out, see what they're doing, see what people are saying is good, bad, and ugly, and do it better. Not do better ugly, but do better good. Find out what is bad or ugly and turn it around so your product doesn't reflect it. It could be as simple as a color. So if somebody's got red and black plastic, maybe come out with green, or make it a wood, or make it some completely different material that's not out there. I'll show you one example with garden shears. So garden shears, we had a carbon steel blade, and they were good. They were selling fine. But if we put a 45-cent titanium blade that was attached, it brought up those garden shears $7. It made sense. So just by seeing what people were wanting, we were able to take a look at it, do product innovation, which is important, and it didn't cost us anything. It was just talking to the manufacturer. And the last thing, I think this is around 10 minutes, maybe I did more. Anyways, it's your customer experience itself. If you have never bought your product, how do you know what the customer is experiencing? You've got to test it out. You've got to touch it, feel it, open it, see what the customer is experiencing. And if you're not satisfied, your customer won't be satisfied. And I don't know about you, but sometimes our manufacturer, the quality that is, maybe you didn't get an inspection done, maybe something snuck through inspection, but maybe the quality went down. And you're thinking everything is great. And all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of 1 or 2 or 3-star reviews because you didn't check out your product. So by being on top of your game, oh, and by the way, what better than to buy your competition's product and see what you'd receive from them, and then make sure that you get on top of your game, get a better customer experience. You add all these things up, I'm telling you, you can easily double your profits if you're at a bottom tier and you're trying to get to the second or third tier just by doing simple things. So that's my presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Norm. There were a lot of great takeaways there. If you want to learn more from Norm, you're in luck. Norm is giving away a free 2-month membership to Private Label Legion, which is a community of e-commerce sellers sharing methods and best practices to selling and maximizing growth potential. So over to Kelsey to see who gets this great package.
All right. Should we just do the wheel, or do we want?
Yeah, let's do it.
Again?
Up to you. Let's do the song first, then the wheel.
All right. Okay, here we go. It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, and let's see our wheel. Shuffle it up, and let's give it a spin. Okay, so the winner is Nasco.
Oh, very close.
That was close, yeah. Congrats.
Okay, congratulations.
All right, congrats.
Cool. All right, so next up we have Lenny Ash. Lenny is a co-founder of MMX Distribution and Service and the co-founder of the Ecom Cooperative and AZ Seller Kit. Welcome, Lenny. Lenny started his Amazon journey as a seller back in 2003 and began integrating with Amazon's back end and using software to solve problems and pain points in 2008. He and Jason Hanan launched MMX, their agency, in 2015 and found their niche in apparel space. He finally convinced Jason to let others use their software, and AZ Seller Kit was born. For the last 3 years, they've been focusing on building out even more features in AZ Seller Kit, giving them the opportunity to help even more sellers. What's up, Lenny?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me here, and I appreciate the introduction. And the topic I'm going to be discussing in today's webinar is price elasticity for private label sellers. And I think it's such a good segue to come off Ben's first what he spoke about valuations and such, and then Norm with perceived value. It's like the perfect intro to gauging price elasticity on Amazon. So let me get my screen shared here. And so first, one of the things I want to touch on, really, it's more of a education mission than anything else. Repricing for private label sellers. Whenever you mention the word repricing in general, people don't really think it applies to them. The second you hear repricing, you think right away wholesale or competing for the buy box or things like that. But in actuality, playing with your pricing is a very important part of being on the Amazon marketplace. Like you saw, Norm showed us, there were 3 muds, same exact item, or the knives that he was selling, same knife, just very tiny variations. And one was getting the lower tier, one was in the middle, one was in the much higher. So if you're a seller and you think your private label, you have no buy box competition, you think that your price is your price because you know what your cost is and you did all the math of what you invested, and you have your advertising expense, you have all the expenses lined up, and you know you want to make X profit margin. So you calculate a retail price and you think that's going to be the price. But that's not the case necessarily. If you checked all the boxes off and you did your listing right, touched on all the points that Norm mentioned, then in actuality, you'd be doing yourself a disservice by at least not testing the waters to see if pricing should go up and down. So the idea behind repricing is moving your price up or down to achieve a desired result. Results could vary depending on what you're trying to accomplish. You might want to slow down sales to avoid a stock out. So obviously, a higher price will lead to slower sales. And that's a basic, that's ABCs of economics, but there is a happy medium where it might not. Another potential desired result might be to get your sales velocity up. The idea behind selling on Amazon is to rank in the search results for a keyword. So if you want to get your sales velocity up, even if you know you're going to lower the price, your margin might come down, but it'll affect your sales velocity. You'll rank higher. Once you rank higher, establish your listing, you can start to inch the prices back up. So for that temporary period of time, you might want to test your price down. Sometimes lowering your price may not even help your velocity. So, but it's a potential goal that you could be trying to accomplish. And increasing your sales velocity to move through overstock is another reason why you would obviously lower your price. Repricing or automated repricing is applicable to private label sellers. Even if you own the buy box 100% of the time and there's no buy box competition, it's just an important idea for private label sellers to understand that even though you might have a fixed cost and you know think you have everything figured out, if your item is selling well for a certain price, that doesn't mean that that's your price. Maybe you can get a little bit more for it. Don't leave money on the table. That's the main point. Try and test out your pricing. So some goals or strategies for private label repricing, you know, different use cases. You can use pricing to manage your inventory. So a lot of my background is in the apparel space. And in apparel, you will have one listing that'll have 6 colorways, and each colorway has 4 or 5 sizes. So if you have all those sizes, you know, you have to, in many cases, you'll be buying your inventory in preset case packs. So if you want to replenish the medium, you have to buy the case pack, which includes a small, a medium, large, and an extra large. So using pricing to balance the sales velocity for the different variations, it's okay if one variation is priced at, let's say, $19.99, and the medium and the large, which are a little bit more popular, are priced at $24.99, and then the extra large is priced a little bit lower. If you go to Amazon and browse the top 100 listings in any category, you'll see in the top 50, right, those pages that everyone tracks, you want to be in the top 50 in a category, you'll see how many listings have variations that have more than one price point on the same variation. So maybe in a retail store, if you're coming from that background, you think of a display rack that has all of your items on it. If you had 3 colors and each one was a different price in a retail store, you might think that's crazy. But online, at least in the world of Amazon, it works, and you see it in all of the top ranked listings. Another point is using pricing to maximize your profit. If you're going to be stocking out, you know what you have in stock, you know what the supply chain disruptions have been like lately, and your boat might be stuck on the water for an extra, you know, more time than you expected. which means that you're going to eventually sell out. You're on pace to be sold out of the item. You won't be able to replenish in time. So it's a great opportunity to try raising your price to see if your item can hold a higher price on the Amazon marketplace without affecting your sales velocity. And the goal is to try and slow it down. You're going to be stocked out. You're going to sell out before your replenishment will hit regardless, right? So you may as well play with the pricing and try and inch it up so that you can get more profit. And at the same time, you're going to learn about how high of a price your item can sustain. And I'll go back to Norm's example of the knives he was mentioning. He said other competitors in the higher tier are between $250 to $300. If you are at that $250 range and you're on the way to being sold out, you may as well try to see if you can push the limit to the 300. That would be an opportune time to test out your pricing. And another one is another potential goal or strategy is to use repricing to increase your sales velocity on slow moving items, marking it down. I mean, that's obvious. The question really becomes, how far will you have to mark down your item to actually make a difference? So the fact that on Amazon prices can go up or down and doesn't necessarily affect your sales velocity, it does go both ways. So if you're selling an item for 25 bucks and you raise the price to 28, it may not affect your velocity and you just put an extra $3 a unit in your pocket. To Ben's analogy, to Ben's line of business in terms of helping people get valuations, if you put an extra $3 a unit in your pocket at a 5x valuation, you're putting an extra 15 bucks in your pocket just because you tried raising the price by a little. And if it sustains the sales velocity, even better, you know. But to be testing that in your catalog is so important. The point I was making though is that even if you lower the price from 25 to 24 or 23, you have to watch the sales velocity to make sure that you're actually affecting that increase that you're looking for. Because sometimes lowering the price, if it's not enough to tip the scales, you'll still sell the same. You're just leaving money on the table. You may as well go back to where you were. Maximizing profitability was another, is in line with the three. I mean, that's a basic business objective that everyone has. And then maximizing your sales velocity, that's more in line with ranking for keywords in the organic search results. So if you are just launching a product, which I guess we'll get to in the next slide, but if you're just launching a product in general, you're not going to want to play with pricing. You're going to come in at whatever price point you want to enter and just try and build that velocity so you can rank in the search results for your keywords. But if you're at a point where you have to reorder, or it's your first go around, and this test period that you were in, right? This first go around, you did your initial buy based on your market research, and you brought in, let's say, 500 units of an item to start, and you started selling. So you may not even, you can raise the price, but you may not want to, you may want to raise the price or lower the price to try and achieve the highest sales velocity. And if it's in this launch or even growth phase, it's important to achieve the highest velocity you possibly can, because when you're placing your reorders from overseas, which are going to potentially arrive in 3 to 6 months, you're going to look at sales data from this period and use that in your forecast. All right, I was selling 10 a day, so I'm going to restock now. I'm placing my order from overseas. I'm going to restock for 6 months worth of inventory or 4 months worth of inventory. Well, at 10 a day, if I multiply that out by 180 days, if it was 6 months, I should order 1,800 pieces. But if you were playing with your pricing to try and push the velocity, so now you're selling 15 a day, at 15 a day, your reorder would be that much higher. So if that's your goal when you're in that phase, those are the types of things that would affect. When to attempt repricing is an important point to consider. Now, the items come in, there's basically the life cycle of an Amazon item. You have your launch phase, your growth phase, and your maturity. So if you're just launching an item, you probably don't. Now, these points that I put up here are, everyone runs their own business and you have to know what's applicable in your case and what business decisions to make. But so these are all in general, just thoughts from some general patterns that we've seen, but it's not necessarily absolute. But in general, if you're launching an item, you don't want to play with the price. You want to kind of leave it at the price that you launched at, or if anything, maybe you'll lower the price by a bit, and maybe you'll lower the price by a bit just to try and, push that initial launch phase. When you're in growth phase, you're probably looking at, that's what the point I mentioned before, you're probably looking at, the data, the sales velocity you're going to achieve during that growth phase. Now's when you're placing your reorder for whenever it's going to come in 3 to 4 months from now. So the sales velocity you achieve during that phase is going to affect your inventory position in 4 months from now. So you have to have that in mind when you're in growth phase. If you're playing with your pricing, you want to achieve the maximum velocity in that time. So lowering your price might help you achieve that, or even hiring your price in terms of perceived value. Your conversion rate might go up and you'll sell more than you were at the lower price. And then for a mature listing, once you're in that life cycle phase, that's when you really get to, you already have an established listing. You've maxed out all of your content. Your images are A+. You touched on all those points Norm mentioned. You have every box checked. You have hundreds of reviews already. At that point, your item can most likely sustain a higher price. How much higher? You have to play around with the pricing to test. You don't want to kill the item or lose ranking, but you have to play around with it. And if you're not, the point I'm making is that you're leaving money on the table. You have to try it. So I'll run through this last slide quick. I think I'm already over my 10 minutes, but important things to look at when you're playing with pricing is your sales velocity. That's obvious. You want to see how many you're selling a day. Make sure that whatever pricing you're playing with is in line with your goals. The business reports that's available on Amazon's backend will give you your session counts and your conversion rates. So it's super important as you're playing with your prices, whether up or down, to track what effect it's having on your session counts and your conversion rates, right? If you see that raising the price by a certain amount destroyed your conversion rate, then it's probably not worth the trade-off. You're going to start to tank in the search results. You're going to want to lower it back down. Search result placement for keywords. If you're tracking that using one of the many tools on the marketplace as you play with your pricing, again, if that's going to affect your velocity, you'll see your search result placement drop. So you want to keep an eye on that. And then lastly is your buy box percentage. You're the only seller on the listing, so you would think you have 100% buy box, but that's not actually true. If you're playing with your pricing, especially trying to test it on the higher end, Amazon can actually make you lose the buy box for your listing, and they'll just display buying options available here. And when the shopper clicks on it, you'll be the only offer on the listing. But because you tried to raise your price, if you were selling for 25 bucks for the last 4 months, and you've been raising your price steadily over a couple of weeks, and you were able to push it to 32, and then you said, all right, let me test 35, and you get to 35, Amazon may say, no buy box for you, and that'll affect your sales. So keeping an eye on that is another very important metric to track while you're doing this. And whether you use software or not, that's the last point. This is something that any seller can test. Obviously, if you have a smaller catalog, 2 or 3 listings, 10 listings, you can probably test your pricing out and kind of employ these different strategies on your own. But as your catalog starts to get bigger, people start to look for kind of solutions to help automate it. And that's kind of where we come in. So that's my presentation on price elasticity. It exists. Everyone should be playing with their prices. Don't leave money on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. So if you've put questions in the chat, know that we're going to open up questions at the end. We've got a lot of presenters today. We've got a lot of material to get through, but we are keeping all of your questions active in the chat, and we will have a Q&A section at the end. That's kind of when it gets sort of fun. So don't worry about that. We are going to give away $1,000 in subscriptions to AZ Seller Kits so that you can actually use Lenny and Jason's software to help maximize your impact on Amazon and make sure your pricing is where it's supposed to be. So Kelsey, if you will spin the wheel, and then we've got one more prize to give away to the special guest that's in the audience that we're going to make a panelist. But let's give Lenny's prize away first, because I think people are chomping at the bit for that.
Here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, here we go. We'll spin the wheel.
Look how many more things are on the wheel.
Yeah, lots of entries. Thank you everyone for entering, of course.
Kelsey, thank you
And
for
let's see.
the wheel.
Yeah, my pleasure. And let's see. The winner is Jack B. All right, congratulations.
All right, I think I've heard through the grapevine that there is there's another ecom cooperative provider in the audience that we want to make into a panelist to give away a prize. So why don't we bring Eric Sutters up to the stage?
He should be entering. Just Lenny, can you give us a quick word about the prize just to make sure everybody understands? Take a little
Sure.
moment there, okay?
Yeah, we're giving away $1,000 worth of subscription fees to our platform, to AZ Seller Kit. So you'll get onboarded first. We'll have an onboarding session and demo the app, make sure you understand what it is and how it applies to your business. And then whatever pricing tier you fall into, you'll get $1,000 to use towards the software.
Sweet, thank you so much. Okay, let's see if Eric is there. Can you hear us, Eric?
I gotcha. Thanks for having me.
Eric, thank you for joining us. Eric is the GM of Seller Rocket. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Seller Rocket does?
Yes, well, thanks, Liz, and thanks for having me on Sellermania 4. So Seller Rocket, we're the leaders in editorial recommendations. So we can help get brands featured in editorial content both on and off of Amazon. And this can really help your brand to grow its sales. We saw amazing results recently over Black Friday and the Christmas timeframe through lots of additional sales going through editorials. So yeah, excited to be here today. And I wanted to show, do I have a couple of minutes where I could show a couple of examples of what these
You have like 2 minutes. I'll give you
2 minutes.
Because I like
Okay.
you so much, you get 2.
Thank you, Liz. You are the best. Okay, so what is an editorial? So here is one of the consistently highest ranking terms on Amazon, or keywords that's always ranking high on Amazon, water flosser. And so you can see here, there's an editorial about 25% of the way down the page. This is written by this third-party publisher, Business Insider. And you can see these different water flosser products featured here. So if you are selling a water flosser, somebody clicks on your product here in the editorial, adds to cart and purchases, this would be considered an attributable sale to this editorial. And then the publisher, Business Insider, wrote this article, would get a commission. Well, we find that most sellers struggle to get featured in these editorials before they work with Seller Rocket. It's kind of like that just black hole of, oh, how do I ever find the right person at the publisher who can help me get in here? Here's another one. This is a different way these might look. So here I searched golf net, and you can see here that there are multiple articles that actually popped up under this keyword. So there are 4 that are showing here, and there's another one out to the right, but these work the same way. So if you click on one of these articles, sorry, I'm getting lots of Slack messages. So if you click on one of these articles, the products are featured in the article here. We could have done the same thing on the water flosser article, but the 3 products were just shown there in the square. And so if I was to come here, read about this one, decide to click on it and purchase, it would work the same way. And then what we are giving away today for free is an off of Amazon editorial placement. So this is more than $1,000 value. And so we find about 50% of people look for or do research for editorials off of Amazon. And so I've typed in here best bronzing spray. And so if somebody comes in looking for best bronzing spray content, and they click on this article here, this is put out by the LA Times. And so you can see this works the same way. Like if I go and I click on one of these products, sorry. If I click on a product there, it'll take me to Amazon where I can purchase and add to cart. And so we now have thousands of these off of Amazon articles that are ranking on first page of Google with publisher partners. And these are ranking, these are thousands of articles that we can potentially get sellers featured into for those users that are looking for your product off of Amazon. And so we find that the folks that work the best or have the best results in our program, They will combine the off of Amazon and on Amazon editorial content together to really help grow their brand. And so that's what Seller Rocket can do. And we're working now with more than 815 clients, more than 3,500 brands. And we've seen some amazing results. So anyway, if you are interested in working with Seller Rocket, please feel free to send us an email at launch@sellerrocket.io, or you can find me on LinkedIn and reach out, but we'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. And they are generously giving away a free off Amazon editorial, correct? So Kelsey,
Right.
let's spin that wheel and find out who wins that.
Kelsey, before you run it, everybody's up to date, all the names?
Yeah.
Let me just double check on my
Double
side.
check, guys. I think a few of them just rolled right in. I want to make sure everybody gets a fair chance to win. Let's give it a
All right.
moment.
And if you're just now joining us, you've missed out on a couple prizes, but there are still some more left. This is Sellermania 4 from the Ecom Cooperative, also known as TACO. I am Liz Downing from Tacometrics. I'm joined by Eileen Lint from Thrasio and a bunch of really smart, awesome panelists. And we're having a great time. So if you're here, welcome.
Okay.
It's a great group. I see lots of familiar faces here. So, yeah.
Okay. I think I got one. The last participant, I'm not sure. It's not in English. I think it's Hebrew.
What's okay? Let me take a look. Who do we have here with the Hebrew name? Just put Jacob A. Jacob A. Yeah, that's
right.
it's in Hebrew.
Okay, I think I got everyone. All
Okay,
right.
let's go for it.
Okay, we'll jump right into the wheel. Okay, so we'll shuffle them up, and here we go. All right, the winner is Alberto M.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Oh.
My email is in the chat there. So Alberto, if you want to reach out to me, we'll make sure to get you set up with a free editorial placement off of Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Eric is one of the Seller Rocket is one of the members of the Ecom Cooperative. We're going to jump right into Vanessa Hung's presentation. Vanessa is a problem solver of what she calls the unsexy stuff on Amazon. So she's been helping people with their Amazon businesses since 2017. She's the co-host of Wizards of E-commerce on Espanol and also heading things up in Fort Lauderdale, expanding that empire. She's a passion for sharing knowledge about strategies, tips, and trends on starting, scaling, and transforming e-commerce businesses, especially on Amazon. Vanessa, we are so thrilled to have you. You're going to be talking about Amazon compliance issues and staying not in trouble with Amazon. So welcome, and please take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna talk.
Looks good. Looks good.
We're gonna talk about Amazon selling compliance. So there is this thing of sellers or in the community of Amazon sellers that they feel a victim of how the system works when it comes to compliance. So Amazon, as Liz mentioned, and as you may know in your experience selling Amazon, things can change pretty quickly. Policies can completely turn around in a matter of weeks or days without Amazon really telling you or letting you know beforehand for you to prepare. So that's the common statement or the common thought that people have when it comes to account health and performance things, requirements, documentations. So in the work that I do, I try to turn that knowledge or that perceived thing that Amazon does around, because I feel that Amazon really cares about the importance of having products that are compliant in their platform. So they really take care of customers. And as you may know, they are customer obsessed. So the most important thing here is protect customers. So when we align our business to the goal that Amazon has in order to protect customers and give the best experience, we start understanding why these policies come across the platform. So most of the things we saw last year and during COVID, especially when the pandemic started hitting the US, it's that they start putting in place a lot of the processes and the policies that they already have written in their platform, but they were not really enforcing. So that is where I really encourage people to start looking at is Amazon really has all the compliance stuff most of the time, or the majority, written in their policies, in their TOS, and they were not enforcing them. So talking a little bit about the Amazon compliant processes. Now we have a lot of dashboards and programs that will help sellers to go around and have the right information. I feel that they are really putting the work on providing the sellers a better experience regarding when the document is needed, what are the requirements for that special category or product, and how to submit it. So there are dashboards, as you may know, obviously the account health dashboard that's been there for a while. Now they have different features, and I want to talk to you about three main ones that I think are the biggest game changers moving on. And these are programs that start to be part of Seller Central experience from the fourth quarter last year and going on. So the compliance reference. Now we can know what documents are required in the platform before listing them. And this is extremely important because most of the time when a seller goes to look for a product or see a trendy idea in the market and they want to develop their own product, goes to China and find a nice manufacturing facility that makes it. And then it's a job of the freight forwarder or the person that's helping them to import those products into America that they need to know the requirements. And sometimes, and it's been my experience as a seller too, those freight forwarders are not really on top of what the e-commerce requires. And that's something different because we might have some requirements that are appropriate for retail and to have the product imported here, but Amazon really puts a cherry on the top in those requirements and documentation, asking for more to what they really need to have. And this is the case, for example, that we are seeing now. It recently happened in January 10th, that they changed the, in the dietary and supplements category, they start asking and requiring sellers for a certification that the manufacturing facility needs to have to provide the best quality or the best quality for their products. So there are many manufacturing facilities in the dietary and supplement category that they don't have that because regular retail doesn't require that. It's not even part of something that is written in the law, but Amazon wants to put a layer of protection to their customers. So that is where we need to be on top of what Amazon is saying and what Amazon is going, and aligning our values and our goals, our processes to know what they will see, they will ask, and they will require. So this new dashboard, you can find it once you're gonna list your product in catalog, you click add a product, and you will see the bar to search. Under that, you will see you can click on compliance reference. And this is a dashboard where you can find some products. They still don't have all categories, but they soon will have it, where you can find by the keyword the product that you're trying to sell. And depending on the marketplace that you're selling that, you will have all the list of their documentations and requirements that you will need to have before putting that inventory active on Amazon. And the cool thing about it, some of the times, and I start seeing this, not in all accounts, but I hope to start seeing it across the whole states, like the US marketplace, is that before listing a product, they will require those documents. And this is where Amazon is getting proactive about it. Before, you were able to list the product, start selling, and then probably like 1 month after is that Amazon shuts you down and start asking you for for compliance. So this is not the case anymore, and we will start seeing that before selling and before getting into the product, you will be able to see what are the requirements. This is pretty cool, and I think it will streamline a lot of processes, and especially for information, because that can get very tricky. Some freight forwarder can tell you that you need ABC, and the other one tells you that you need 1, 2, 3. So this is very clear, and I think it's a game changer now on when you start selling your own products. So the other thing that we have is Seller Lab. So very similar to the IP Accelerator program, that is a better service providers system that Amazon has. So now they will have, or they have, like now, right now you can go to the Seller Lab and find labs that will help you compliance with all the documentations and requirements that Amazon needs. And it's so cool that it's integrated to your Seller Central. So every time that you put an order with them for a specific ASIN, you will have all the information there. Basically, the lab will communicate with Seller Central, and they will tell you if it's good or if it's not. So that will save a lot of time and hopefully money, because they are trying to make those labs bid with the certification. They can bid for prices. So seller will have the lowest offer that is in the market available. So now it looks like that, and it's because I don't have any code or any process ready to go. But once I choose one lab and upload the ASIN and click for all the documentations and requirements that I need, I will be able to see the central lab central, sorry. So it will give me all the information, and it will be automatic, like the IP Accelerator. Once that is approved, you're good to go, and you won't need to upload anything else. They also have the information updated, so some products you will need to upload the documentations and requirements every so often, and this is very important. Sometimes sellers think like, okay, it's only once before I list it, but most of the certifications that you need now, they need to be re-uploaded. And this is extremely important, because if you are not prepared for that, your listing will get shut down. And that will hurt your metrics, your ranking, everything that you have on Amazon going on if you don't prepare for that. So I really encourage you guys that if your product has any kind of requirement, have a process built and your team ready for Amazon when Amazon comes and asks you for that. Or before that, I hope that we'll start seeing those dashboards where you can upload it before they even ask. So that will be in the back end. And lastly is the account health experience and the help that they're giving. Before, for account health, we're seeing that when we get something there, we need to submit a plan of action. The plan of action structure that we were seeing before, which is 3 parts: root cause, things that you have to, like you did to address the issue, and the ones that you did in the future. Those are the 3 parts that we were seeing before. Now the plan of actions are breaking down in smaller and more precise questions. So that I think is amazing, because it will help sellers to respond and really build a plan of actions and appeals that answer the questions that Amazon wants. And they really make it now easier for you to comply to that, to tell them what they want to know, and to have more success in doing so. Beforehand, like, sellers were the victims of the system because Amazon was not clear about what they need or what they want from you. Now I think they're putting this better experience, and also they're putting in the account health a section here where now you have support. It's not 24/7, it's 7 days a week, but I think they have restrictions in the time zone. So now you can call, ask the questions. When you are falling from a metric, you can really get help there, clarify your issues. And the most important thing that I wanted to leave you is that this is part of our job. And this needs to be part of our processes. Selling on Amazon is not only finding a nice manufacturer and creating perceived value and building your brand and putting the price. It's also comply with the things that they ask, the policies, the requirements, because we are part of their system and we need to start playing by their rules because it's their game. And once we acknowledge that and we look for the information, being part of communities like this one and attend events like this one, will help you to find the most accurate and most updated information that is out there. And to give you some examples of the news, today, Amazon is effective today. Wand massagers and kettle bend balls are classified as adult products. Before that, they were not, and this changed a lot. So if there is any seller selling those products, that will make your whole process of selling on Amazon completely different, because that means that you won't be able to advertise as you use. That means that you won't be able, or you will be able to use certain keywords that before will get you suppressed in the regular search menu. So having this and looking for the updates in the platform is the best way to keep you updated. And don't wait for Amazon to tell you what is wrong. Just start looking for this, getting like in communities like this ecom cooperative, so you can find that information and make your selling process easier. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Vanessa, for giving your time and expertise on Amazon selling and compliance today. Great reminders. Vanessa is giving away another hour of her time for free one-on-one consultation. So if Kelsey, you want to draw the wheel again?
Here we go. And I'll do the song. All right.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay, here we go. I'll pull up the wheel, shuffle up the names, and give it a spin. All right, let's see. The winner is Sylvia C.
Congrats, Sylvia. Awesome. Thanks, Kelsey. All right. And last but not least, we have Mark Casey, CEO of Mark Casey SEO. Whether it's listing copy on Amazon SEO or off Amazon SEO, Mark Casey and his team help e-commerce businesses reach their goals by understanding the science behind where a product ranks on Amazon and how to optimize product listings for the highest conversion rate. Mark can be seen and heard at many industry events, sometimes with his own avatar on the back of his jacket. You can see the avatar in Mark's little window right there. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. As they say, like the best for last, right? I feel so honored that I could conclude the show today.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So, I'm going to be speaking. I don't have any slides. I like speaking from the heart, whatever comes up. This is what I do every day. And just to share a couple of things on on how you could sell well on Amazon, what's going on. But yeah, just like the basics, because we deal with so many different types of products. And in short, like you mentioned, what we do is like the marketing and the SEO. Like for the past 7 years or so, we've been like studying the algorithm and shopping and like shoppers' behavior, I would say. So that way we can understand what Amazon looks for and what they contribute like for rank. So and what ranks the product actually. So by studying shopper behavior over the past couple of years, we're able to put together some data where we see like, hey, okay, Amazon likes A, B, and C, and then what we do is we replicate it. So for example, when we do a launch, right, we have like, let's say a whole bunch of shoppers across America, and we'll have them mimic the same way an actual real buyer would purchase a product on Amazon. We'll have them do the same thing, which kind of contributes towards the rank, so on and so forth. But I always like to kind of break it up and say, whenever you want to launch a product on Amazon and whatnot, you have to be different. And as you can see, I love being different. But something to keep in mind is like, okay, let's say you have a Shopify store. You get someone on your Shopify store. Okay, it's a matter of which product. Once you're on Amazon, there are so many different competitors. You just need to stick out. Like there's 30, for example, let's say there's around like 30 listings or so on the page, plus the sponsored ads, plus there's so many moving parts, so much going on that you need to be the person that stands out. And if not, then you're not going to get any of the clicks and any of the sales. So it really starts whenever it goes to your main image, like getting that click. And underrated, it's very underestimated, I would say, that how much power that click has. So for example, let's say someone types in a keyword and even if they just click the listing, that in itself already starts to give you ranking juice, I would say, ranking power, to start for, and Amazon sees all of that. So starting with the click and the main image, which is very important. And then once they're on your listing, you kind of need to sell them there. And people don't even realize, like between me and you, like I doubt maybe 90% of the people here watching or even anyone actually reads bullet points and descriptions nowadays. No one does it. No one has patience. Everyone's just visual. What do they do? The first thing you want listing, majority of the people go to look at the pictures and just to see, okay, what's this product about? And that's why it's very important to focus on the infographics that you have there and to actually invest time, money, and effort into getting good infographics that tell a story and show all the selling features and the selling points on your product. And that's like basically the most important part, because no one's going to scroll down to your listing. You need to sell them right away. So first of all, yeah. So once you get the click in the SEO standpoint, once you get the click on the product, Amazon loves that. Why? Because they later on they're going to even if you don't purchase it, they retarget you. So I'm sure many times you'll go on the listing on Amazon, you'll engage with it, and you don't end up purchasing it. Then you get an email or you're on a different website and you see the same product being retargeted to you. That's because Amazon retargets you. So underratedly, even just clicks alone on Amazon have a lot to do with the product ranking. Many people think like, okay, just clicking a product on one that doesn't do anything. It really does. Obviously, you don't want to overdo that. So stepping back and making sure you have a solid listing and everything is basically up to par, then that's when you kind of want to jump into the launch phase. But so as Norm, you were saying beforehand about the packaging and all that kind of stuff, and I'm so with it, because I always tell that to my clients that it's so important. And even just the packaging, you spend an extra $1, but you could mark it up $10 extra, and it just kind of gives it an experience for the customer and really pulls in a lot of positive reviews and whatnot. And I'm all about doing that and actually like investing into your brand and investing into your product, not just putting out a product out there. And so one time, one of my clients, they were shipping like a massage gun, but that was like a thing, They had it was like around $200, and they're shipping it in a brown empty box, like a brown box. So then I went over to him. I said, "What are you doing?" I was like, it's not like, even if it's a cheap product, but this is an expensive product, and you're shipping it to them in a brown box. They're getting it. They think this is either drop shipped or something, just came straight from China. You need to make them feel like they actually purchased something and they're happy with it. They want to feel the value. So he was so against it. He's like, I know that's not true. I said, I'm willing to bet you money that it is true. So I said, I'm going to design the packaging. I will do everything. All you have to do is just ask your supplier to implement it. And let's make 2 different listings and see which one picks up. So yeah, lo and behold, that's what we did. He launched 2 different products, being pretty identical. One was with my, box that we created, and one was with this brown box. The box that he created ended up picking up and getting all the reviews, and people felt valued that, hey, I'm spending $200. I feel like I'm getting a product, as opposed to just some something with a brown box. So even just starting from there, that's like kind of the end of the funnel. But in the beginning of the funnel, when someone goes onto your listing, it's very important that you need to be, you need to sell them, and they need to understand your product within the first 10 to maybe 30 seconds of them being on your listing. If not, they'll just go click somewhere else. So that is very important. I had a client one time who literally drove me insane, and he was willing to, I think he ended up did spending $10,000 just on his hero image. I thought he was crazy. He was in the beauty category, and it took him around 3 to 6 months to finalize which hero image you wanted with the main image for his product. But the truth is, once he finalized that, his sales really started to kick in. And the reason is because he understood that whenever someone types in vitamin C serum, there are many other people who are there, and you need to be the one that stands out. So it's kind of like, it really is a funnel. Like, okay, you need to be there for the search results. Then they need to click, then they need, then they need to be on your product, and then be happy with the images and what the product is, the reviews, so on and so forth. So that's why it's very important to have obviously a solid listing, but then that comes into phase 2 of launching a product. So many times when people want to come to us to, for example, launch a product, it's great, but I'll tell them upfront, I don't think your listing is up to par. It's not worth to invest money into it. So let's say we'll fix it up, then we'll go to phase 2. So phase 2 is understanding what your keywords are and what you want to target. And then what we do is we set up these sales over, like, let's say an 8 to 10 day period, where people will either search, find, buy, or a newer thing that we like to do, which we see great results with, is to drive Google ads to the product with, including the keyword and whatnot. And then having our buyers purchase the item over 8 to 10 days, and then Amazon sees a consistent path, I would say. You're being consistent with people purchasing your product with a certain keyword over a certain amount of time. So Amazon sees, hey, this product is getting sales with this keyword, let's push them up in the ranks. But the step further is that since it's coming through Google ad, Amazon loves it. Amazon loves outside traffic. Anything that's coming from outside, obviously there's different levels, like Facebook would be cheap traffic, and then it kind of builds up in the ranks, but Amazon loves outside traffic. So A, you're driving outside traffic, Amazon loves that. B, it's converting because you're doing it through a giveaway, through a rebate. So it's converting, so that shows Amazon, hey, this guy's selling, he's getting outside traffic, it's converting, let's push him up. He has more potential, I would say. So that's why it's very important to, a lot of people say, like, oh, I've done giveaways, it doesn't work. I said, how are you doing the giveaways? They don't even know. It's really, at the end of the day, how you do the giveaways, not just like whatever, giving away. It's really how you do the giveaways. Many times people give away 100 pieces, you don't get anywhere near the result as if you were to give away 50 pieces, but doing them the right way. So kind of when you build your launch plan or whatever it is, and keeping that in mind to do influencers, all that kind of stuff, but doing outside traffic, Amazon loves that. So if you're kind of feeding Amazon what they want to be fed, then that's why that's how you get the ranks that you want to accomplish. And we've gotten crazy keywords ranked, and even with half the amount that we needed to do just by following this path. Another thing is the honeymoon period. Everyone has like different, I would say, like opinions on when the honeymoon period actually is. But whenever it actually is, I mean, the newer the product, I would say, the newer the listing, the fresher it is, and better to kind of jump on that. So the first 30 days is definitely the best time to, and then 60 to 90 days, but that's once it hits FBA. So whenever we make a launch plan, what we'll do is we'll set everything up, and the day it hits FBA, start rolling in these sales. Obviously not dropping 100 sales at once, because that's suspicious, and that'll get you in trouble for no reason. But what we'll do is we'll trickle these sales in slowly and build up, and then Amazon sees that, hey, this guy just launched and he's getting organic sales. So that that kind of helps you from there. But there are so many moving parts, there's so many elements, part of a listing. So like I said, from the main image, from the graphics, and just like the SEO and the keywords, and just to kind of like end off over here. But one huge mistake I see many people doing on a listing is, okay, everyone has A+ content, right? Or if you're brand registered. But a big mistake is, like, actually I'm analyzing someone's listing and I say, your description's missing. They're like, no, I have A+ content. I said, that's great, but you're still missing your description. And people are confused and puzzled when I'm talking about, what I'm saying. So I say, look, you have your A+ content, you have wording on your image, but Amazon's not necessarily picking that up to index you for different keywords. So for example, so you can have a great, beautiful design, but under it, Amazon gives you an option to add wording, which is your description. So A+ content essentially replaces your description, but you still have an option to put wording under it. And that's where a lot of your SEO, that's a lot of your keyword rank and everything is coming from there. But many people think as long as you just put the keywords or anything on the design itself, Amazon will pick that up. So Amazon will pick up something from there, but doesn't compare anything close to if you actually put the actual keywords onto the listing itself, where Amazon's algorithm could pick it up and understand your product. And then another thing, just like a bonus tip, a great thing is to put either Spanish keywords or misspellings on the back end of your listing. So many people underestimate Spanish keywords. They think, no, that's just for Amazon Mexico or whatever. But no, there are many Spanish-speaking people in America who will be using Amazon because Spanish is their primary language, and they'll type in these Spanish keywords. So a great bonus, a great thing is you don't even have to put in your front end of your listing, the back end, plug in those Spanish keywords, plug in those misspellings. You will be very surprised on the results that you can get with that. So in short, yeah, I mean, that's my time for today, but I would love to speak more. This is what I kind of do every day. But we'd love to check your listings out. And if you guys want to contact us, AmazonSEO.com. The proof is in the pudding. We own that domain. So if anyone wants to reach out, we'll analyze your listing and help you launch. AmazonSEO.com.
Mark, thank you so much. So we
Sure.
have one final giveaway, and that is SEO consultation with Mark Casey SEO. So if you want to dig into your own products.
No, actually, sorry to cut you off. It was a free launch.
Free
I went
launch.
ahead. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Let's do this. If we're gonna do it, you have to do the right way. Yeah, we're giving away a free launch, free product launch.
So you got a product, you want to launch it with power, then you can get that with Mark Casey SEO. So Kelsey, let's spin that wheel one last time.
Okay, I'm just double checking to make sure everyone is in, and it looks like it. So here we go. This is the last one, so enjoy.
It's time for the Wheel of Elsie.
Okay, and over to the wheel. Shuffle it up and give it a spin. Here we go. The final winner is Anna P.
All right, Anna.
Awesome, Anna. I'm really looking forward to crushing it.
That's awesome. We will be connecting all of the winners with all of their respective prize givers after the show. So that concludes our presentations for today. We really appreciate everybody who came. You're invited to attend we're going to stop live streaming, and we're going to just kind of after party and answer some of the questions that came in during the session, just have kind of an open discussion for the next like 15-20 minutes or so. So if you're watching this on a live stream and you're not actually in the Zoom, get in here, because we're about to close down the live stream and turn it into the after party. Again, this was Sellermania 4, brought to you by the Ecom Cooperative, also known as TACO. We are a group of organizations that are heck bent and determined to help you be successful on Amazon and other marketplaces. It's completely free to join. So go to the ecomcooperative.com and make sure you're on our mailing list. Make sure you're subscribing to our content. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere you can follow someone. We're trying to talk somebody into doing TikTok. I think it ought to be Lenny, but I was just looking for that laugh out of him, honestly. Thanks to all of our panelists, Ben Leonard, Norm Farrar, Vanessa Hung, Mark Casey, Lenny Ash. Thank you so much for bringing your thought leadership and your insights to this group. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you at the next one. Also keep in touch with, and thanks to Eileen Lent for kindly co-hosting. This was actually her first live event. Yes. So everybody tell her how hard she crushed it.
Thanks, Liz. It's nice co-hosting with you. So I appreciate the support.
I think everybody's getting tired of seeing me, but that's cool. Get used to it.
Okay, we're gonna end the live feed, and then we're gonna basically go into the I guess the after party, the backstage. So thank you so much, Liz. Great work. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, all the panelists. I'm gonna do a 3-second countdown so we can stop the live feed. 3, 2, 1. See you everybody later. Okay, live feed is gone now. Okay, we'll start recording, but this is backstage. Nobody can kind of see us out there in the world, so you can feel free to hit the chat, or if you have anything, you can just raise your hand. They'll bring you into the panelists, and you can share your video. You can put your sound on and ask us questions. So feel free to do that. I'm gonna start recording in 3 seconds. Also, 3, 2, 1.